So the answer is yes, we want it to be safe, but we want the opponents of Indian Point to be more realistic and more honest.
If you had a Chernobyl-style accident, you'd have a 7% increase in the cancer rate within the 50-mile zone.
The Chernobyl reactor is an RBMK reactor, but the RBMK does not exist in this country and is not an issue even to think about.
When the Nuclear Regulatory Commission was asked by the Lieutenant Governor to expedite their evaluation of the seismic risk, a spokeswoman for the NRC told the New York Post, "We're not going to expedite because we don't think this is a serious issue."
This became under review because the New York State geologists raised questions about the seismic design in 1977, and so special hearings were conducted by the NRC to revisit this issue. The conclusion of those hearings was that yes, the design for Indian Point was appropriate, met all requirements of the regulations, and the plant was safe in terms of a seismic issue.
Part of the mix has to be the repowering of existing natural gas plants. Our existing natural gas fleet is very inefficient.
The idea that we can take a whole bunch of facilities in New York City and upgrade them is a great idea. The capital's not there, the will is not there, and there's no desire on the part of the corporate world to spend any money to modernize all of these plants in the city. So let's cross that off the list.
This is more the 2030 scenario I'm talking about in terms of the different resources and what can and should be done to help meet our energy needs, keep the costs down, and minimize the impacts.
We have to decide what the trade-off is. Ashok's group tells us that there is a trade-off. We can replace the 2,000 megawatts and be ready for this. Be prepared as a consumer to pay more money for power that has to be brought in from out of state. And they say the other part of the trade-off, if you read the statements, is your CO2, that dirty, dirty air that we worry about, the global warming, will increase dramatically because we will lose the nuclear power, which is the cleanest form of power.
We don't have to have our lights go out if we don't relicense Indian Point.
I can only say this. I don't know how many people remember what happened in California when the entire state of California was held hostage by out-of-state utility companies who were charging $1,000 per megawatt to the people in that state.
Yeah, basically 1% to 3% is what our Synapse study shows. If you have a $100 bill, it's $1 to $3 per month.
What do the people who are the real experts tell us? The New York Building Congress does their own study. They've got a stake in it because their members are the people who build the big buildings here in New York City. And they say that the retirement of Indian Point would lead to higher electric prices and jeopardize the system. Mayor Bloomberg had the city pay for a study by the Charles River Associates, which basically said costs would go up $300 million a year, public subsidies would be required, billions of dollars in new cost, and carbon emissions 15% or more an increase.